when is the appropriate time to talk about somebody taking their own life? Because I mean, even from a people standpoint and how to deal with that, yes, it seems most relevant right after something like that's happened. But I guess even for someone who might be, considering it or has considered in the past or has those types of feelings or has family members that have those type of feelings, you don't want to talk about it when you feel like they're in the throes of it, as if you might push them one way or another,
right.
And you don't, and if they seem like they're doing better, that's not also a subject you don't want to bring up. So I mean,
right, you don't want to rattle the cage thinking.
Exactly. So have you thought about that lately?
Yeah. So it's a never.
Yeah.
It's in effect we end up never
Kinda
talking
taboo.
about it. Exactly. And and the isolation of not being able to share what is a large part of someone's life or has a potential to be, and never talking about it and never sharing because there's never an appropriate time, is probably a detriment to the benefit of the conversation.
Right. You know what really struck me yesterday? I'm driving to the home of a family who has just experienced this with a loved one, okay? And I'm on the way there, and I call my brother, who that day just got home from the hospital, having himself attempted it.
Yeah.
And it just kind of hit me like, yeah, how do we just brush this off like let's not talk about it? How do we just say like, well, let's not? It's like, wow, this hit me right in the face. And with my brother, we had no idea. There was no warning. We had no clue whatsoever. It's my oldest brother. He's always been kind of a loner. We'll not see each other for 3 or 4 years, and all of a sudden, hey, how you doing? It's just one of those relationships. And just all of a sudden, I get this call from the hospital. Your brother's in critical care. Give us a call. I'm like, okay, that's kind of wild. They know my number and
Right.
So I call them up and, oh, yeah, this blah, blah, blah. And they're talking like I might know what's been going on. And I said, I have to stop you for a moment. I said, was he in an accident? I have no idea. Could you help me out here? I know nothing. And they're like, oh. And, he had done some stuff and ingested some poisonous stuff to end his life. And I'm just like, wow. Of course, like I said, we're not like we're neighbors. We don't talk to each other all the time. But still, it's like, that's my brother. Had no idea.
Yeah.
No idea he was.
Well, I think that's probably one of the main obstacles when it comes to people talking to people like that. Like, you have no idea where they're coming from. Like, no idea. You don't know what it feels like to be in that place where you don't have a vision of hope like we were kind of talking.
Yeah.
And so you think, well, what am I supposed to say? What could I even say here that's going to convince you that everything's okay?
And I think that's one of the big things. One of the things that I was thinking about as I was driving in is I can't imagine you could find a person in the free world that feels like they're qualified to deal with someone who was on that type of path, who was in that line of thinking and finding that ending their life is a choice that they're entertaining.
Right.
If someone were to come with me, that's like I'm not qualified to handle that. But if nobody's qualified, I mean, it's the same thing of not having the conversation. Like sometimes I think we have to agree that it's not comfortable, it's not fun, it's not. It feels like we're not qualified or able to handle it. But as a whole, the more we ignore it, I think the more it continues to slip by and become more relevant to us, and that's the worst thing it could be.
Mm-hmm.